Sometimes I think the most fucked up part of this is that the only reason it's happening is because I spoke out against abuse. Not Adonis Paul's abuse. I spoke out against my family, and my family enlisted the help of Adonis Paul to stop me. See, when all of this began, they thought that they were doing the right thing. They thought I was lying. I had published a book and my family got mad. My Aunt Kathy went on a rampage. She was so angry and she just wanted me silenced. She didn't want anybody to ever think that that book was about her family. She didn't want people to know that it was the truth. The generational trauma and abuse had become so normalized and so privatized. We all know what happens in my family, but we're not allowed to talk about it outside of my family. But the problem is that I am no longer a part of that family. I am outside of the family, so I'm talking about it, and I'm still not allowed. And how can you tell somebody who's a grown person that they're not allowed to talk about something? So because they were mad that I published my book, they started working with Adonis Paul and these other cyberbullying channels, Daywave Radio, Original Owl, JJ Stoner. They did interviews. They were so, convinced that they could prove to the world that I was a liar. They did interviews where my aunt and her daughter and her son just spent hours lying and talking shit they didn't even understand. My cousin, her biggest upset was that I didn't share my Legos with her when I was a child. When she knows goddamn well that I shared my Legos with her children, so obviously I got better as I aged, right? But because when she was a child, she's going to forever hold the grudge. Doesn't matter that I treated her children better. It doesn't matter that we were almost the exact same age and kids fucking suck. It doesn't matter. She hates me because she was raised to hate me, because her mother raised her and her brothers to hate me, because her mother hates me. My aunts, her daughters, and my sisters have been working as a team with these cyberbullying creators to slander and defame me, so that even if I write my story, even if I tell my story, nobody will believe me because, well, but this 10,000 people say that you're a liar, and they would know better than you, being you just you. Nobody can speak out for me because they get attacked. I had a neighbor, when all of this began, a neighbor that I went to school with, that I grew up with, on the same street, contacted me and tried to help me. Tried to say, yeah, I remember growing up, your family was kind of fucked up. Your sister and dad bombarded our house with dirty diapers at one point, and there was a lawsuit. But because she told that story, people in the group began attacking her, calling her a liar and threatening her. They quite literally threatened her children. She received messages saying, we know where your kids go to school. You should stop talking. And all she was doing was telling the truth of her experience of living near me when I was a child. And to put the cherry on top, it's not even Kathy that I was talking about in the book. My book was a lot more about my parents, my mother and father, Kathy's sister, and the man she married. Not Kathy herself. She's so defensive and so dead obsessed with stopping me from talking about anybody in her family, regardless of if it's true. She doesn't care whether it's even about her. She has gone on record and explicitly denied abuse, that she was not even there to know whether it was happening or not. She wasn't in the same state for years. How would she know? But she's perfectly fine denying it. My family is abusive. And over the past 4 years of them trying to prove that I'm a liar and I'm the abuser, they have proved without a doubt that they are abusive. My aunt visited my brother's grave with apple juice when my mother died. Okay? When my mother died, she used it as an attempt to mentally, emotionally hurt me by going after my brother's grave. So when people say that the things they're saying about my brother's grave are just jokes, my aunt visited. When my brother died, my aunt visited the grave. Well, I mean, when my mother died, my aunt visited the grave. So, like, maybe she's only going to attack me that way when somebody in the family dies. So what's to say if my sister dies, she's not going to then attack my brother's grave to mentally, emotionally abuse me? It doesn't make it okay just because she's picking and choosing the right times to put into action these cruel plans that she has put forth to abuse me. And these thousands of cyberbullies that are assisting her, it's fucked up that they can't acknowledge what they're doing. They have targeted me for death because my family lied to them. My family is legitimately abusive to the point that I truly feel my aunt is going to have me killed one day. I honestly believe that this is an attempt at her to have me killed, that she is trying to have these people kill me. At one point, before my mother's death, her children came to California and she told me that they would hurt me. She told me that I needed to be afraid if anybody I ever knew was in California, that if I heard a motorcycle, I should turn and run away because they would not slow down. That was her threat to me when her children visited for Bike Week or something last year. That if I left the house and heard a motorcycle, I should be in fear because it might be one of her children running me down without ever looking back because she has told them to kill me. That's the reality of my life right now, and nobody should be living with that reality just because they spoke out about that reality. I spoke out about the abuse that's going to kill me. And their denial is so strong that they have to kill me for speaking out about it. It's never going to stop. These channels helping them are never going to stop. My family themselves are never going to stop. Abuse never stops. Gypsy Rose didn't have a choice. Sometimes when you're abused and you're in an abusive family, in an abusive situation, you think you can leave. You think, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to move out and I'm going to make my own life and nobody's ever going to hurt me again. But what you don't know is that they won't let you leave. Even if you grow up, they won't let you leave. No matter how old you are, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you want it, they won't let you leave. They won't let me go and also live. They will let me be abused to death as they watch. They will not allow me to enjoy my life in any way or to build myself up to anything that they can't break down. Because they are abusive. And all they know is how to abuse. And there is no escape for me. There is no safety, there is no freedom, there is no future where I don't have to be afraid. I wish that I could say I knew it was going to get better. I wish that I could be here telling other abuse victims that one day it gets better. Instead, I have to tell them that it never gets better, it only gets stronger. And I don't want to be delivering that message. Because when I was a kid, I needed to believe that there was hope. And now as an adult, I know for a fact that there's not.